Have you ever wondered if living with your children in your later years might become the biggest mistake of your life? Many parents face this dilemma when considering whether to move in with their children after retirement, believing it to be a path to comfort and family closeness. But what if this decision could lead to unexpected emotional burdens and a loss of personal fulfillment? In today's video, we dive deep into the complexities of this choice by exploring the story of Leah, a woman who sought solace and connection by moving in with her son and his family. What started as a hopeful new chapter quickly evolved into a challenging situation, as Leah found herself grappling with unforeseen responsibilities and diminishing satisfaction. By watching this video until the end, you'll gain insights into the hidden challenges of living with family in old age, how well-meaning decisions can sometimes lead to emotional strain, the importance of considering your personal needs and desires when planning for retirement. Join us as we uncover the unexpected twists in Leah's journey and explore whether living with your children in old age truly aligns with the peaceful and fulfilling retirement you envision. Don't miss out on this crucial reflection that could shape your future decisions. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me. And if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. Let's delve deeper into Leah's journey. In the beginning, her days were filled with warmth and purpose as she lovingly prepared meals, maintained the household, and cherished precious moments with her grandchildren. Each task made her feel valuable, needed, and profoundly connected to her family. However, as time passed, a subtle transformation began to unfold. What once were delightful, small tasks gradually morphed into overwhelming daily responsibilities that consumed her time and energy. Leah had moved in with the hope of finding companionship and emotional support in the wake of her husband's passing. Yet, she found herself unexpectedly cast in the role of an unofficial caregiver, a title she never anticipated. The afternoons she had envisioned for leisurely reading or tranquil walks in the park became distant dreams, replaced by a relentless cycle of chores and family obligations that seemed to stretch endlessly before her. With each passing day, the weight of her responsibilities pressed down on her like an oppressive cloud, sapping her spirit and draining her joy. The coexistence she had longed for, where love and connection blossomed, began to feel like a heavy burden. "Mom, could you pick up the children from school today?" Carlos would ask, and although exhaustion seeped into her bones, she always responded with a smile, masking the turmoil brewing within. But beneath that smile, a deep-seated loneliness began to take root, intensifying with each day. Ironically, the very company she had sought for comfort became a source of emotional strain. Instead of the warmth of family life wrapping around her like a cozy blanket, she felt increasingly isolated, her contributions taken for granted. The vibrant interactions she had hoped for dwindled, leaving her with a profound sense of unfulfillment and heartache. Leah's reality had shifted from one of love and companionship to an unexpected emotional burden, casting shadows over her once bright days. As she navigated this new landscape, she couldn't shake the feeling that her own needs and desires were slipping away, buried under the weight of responsibilities that left her feeling unseen and unheard. Conversations with Carlos and Marina, once lively and filled with warmth, became increasingly infrequent, dwindling to mere exchanges about mundane, everyday matters. Leah began to feel a deep, unsettling sense of disconnection. Although her presence was necessary, it seemed to carry less significance, as if she were merely a decorative element in the house. Present but overlooked, her contributions fading into the background. Disappointment crept into her heart like an unwelcome shadow, wrapping around her with a suffocating grip, leaving her feeling trapped and unworthy. In the depths of her soul, Leah started to question whether this was truly the life she envisioned for her golden years. Was the continuous sacrifice of her own needs and desires worth the cost of proximity to her family? The hope of enjoying a fulfilling old age, one filled with love and cherished moments, began to feel like a distant dream, slipping further away with each passing day. This haunting realization stirred within her the desire to explore alternatives, something that truly resonated with her own identity and aspirations. The first signs of discord emerged almost imperceptibly, like tiny cracks in a once firm wall, hinting at deeper fractures beneath the surface. Initially, Leah thought it was completely natural for Carlos and Marina to seek her support with household chores and childcare duties. After all, she had always been a devoted mother, eager to help and contribute to her family's well-being. But as these requests multiplied, they began to feel less like simple favors and more like obligations, further eroding her sense of self and leaving her grappling with the painful realization that her desires were being overshadowed. However, as time meandered on, those initial requests for help morphed from occasional favors into a relentless torrent of demands that washed over Leah like a rising tide. What had once felt like simple, heartfelt gestures of support became an unyielding cycle of obligations that overshadowed her very existence. She could feel the creeping weight of her responsibilities pressing down on her, each day intensifying the burden that suffocated her spirit. The precious hours she had once devoted to nurturing her interests, finding solace in reading or savoring strolls outdoors, faded into the background, replaced by a monotonous rhythm of chores and duties that consumed her time. The situation worsened profoundly as Leah began to perceive a painful shift in how her family regarded her presence. What once was an embrace of love and gratitude slowly morphed into a sense of obligation, as if she were no longer a valued member of the family, but rather an imposition, a burden that others had to bear. The tender moments of connection that had once filled her heart now felt like distant memories, replaced by impersonal requests that left her feeling hollow. "Mom, could you go to the market today?" Marina would ask, her voice lacking the warmth it once carried, framing the question in a manner that suggested it was more of an expectation than a genuine request. As the weeks slipped into months, Leah found herself increasingly ensnared in the role of the household's primary caregiver, a position that trapped her in an exhausting routine. She became the unsung hero of the home, managing tasks that Carlos and Marina either could not handle or simply chose to neglect. Each errand she ran, and each meal she prepared, began to drain her vitality, turning the sanctuary of family life into a suffocating space where her own needs and desires were perpetually relegated to the shadows. What should have blossomed into a joyful coexistence gradually devolved into a grueling existence, where the lines between her identity as a nurturing mother and an unpaid assistant blurred into an indistinguishable haze. The exhaustion weighed heavily on her heart, leaving her feeling like a ghost of her former self, overworked, undervalued, and yearning desperately for the joy, autonomy, and fulfillment that had once defined her life. In the depths of her soul, she felt an aching void, a profound longing for the vibrant connection she had sought, now eclipsed by an avalanche of expectations that left her feeling utterly alone. This new role began to feel like an ever-increasing weight pressing down on Leah, each day amplifying her burden. What had once been minor irritations slowly accumulated, transforming into a cascade of continuous tension that permeated her interactions with family members. She felt ensnared in a routine she had never chosen, a relentless cycle where her own needs and desires were persistently relegated to a distant second plane, sacrificed for the benefit of others. The absence of recognition for her tireless efforts gnawed at her spirit, eroding the enthusiasm and joy she had felt upon moving in. Every task completed without a word of gratitude, every request made with an air of expectation, turned into small emotional wounds that she bore silently. The home, which should have been a sanctuary of love and support, now felt more like a prison, gradually stripping away her autonomy and respect in the name of family life. The emotional toll of this new role was nothing short of devastating for Leah. She felt as if she were losing her very identity, reduced to a shadow of herself, a mere functionary in a household that no longer acknowledged her worth. The deep affection she had always held for Carlos and his family began to dim, overshadowed by an insidious blend of resentment and melancholy that crept into her heart. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, Please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Leah came to realize that rather than strengthening their bonds, this coexistence was erecting emotional barriers that, if left unresolved, could become insurmountable. What began as small disagreements and misunderstandings, almost imperceptible at first, gradually formed deep fissures in relationships that had once seemed indestructible. Each unresolved conflict added to her burden, leaving her feeling isolated and longing for the vibrant connection that had initially drawn her to them. In the depths of her heart, she yearned for a way to reclaim her identity and find a path back to the joy and fulfillment that felt so far away. One fateful day, Leah found herself awakening to the realization that a change was not just necessary, it was imperative. The nights that once enveloped her in peaceful slumber had devolved into endless hours of restless contemplation, lying awake in bed and retracing the memories of her life. She recalled moments when she felt truly alive, when she reveled in the total freedom to make her own choices and embrace her passions without hesitation. Those cherished times felt like distant echoes, gradually overshadowed by the weight of her current existence. What had begun as a slight discomfort, a nagging feeling at the back of her mind, slowly morphed into a profound anguish that settled deep in her heart. Leah found herself questioning whether, in her desire to be close to family, she had unknowingly sacrificed something far more precious: her autonomy, her identity, and above all, her happiness. The suffocating realization that she was living a life dictated by others, rather than one she had chosen for herself, began to engulf her like a dark cloud. These intrusive thoughts were accompanied by an ever-growing sense of lack, a void that gnawed at her insides, reminding her of the vibrant spirit she once possessed. Each day spent in service of others felt increasingly hollow, and the desire to reclaim her sense of self became a beacon of hope in the darkness. The longing for a life rich with her desires and dreams surged within her, igniting a fire that demanded to be acknowledged. At that moment, Leah understood that she could no longer ignore the deep-seated yearning for change. It was time to take a stand for her happiness and redefine what her life could truly be. Leah began to grapple with a haunting question. Was this truly the life she desired for herself? As she reflected on her days, a painful realization washed over her. She had distanced herself from the small joys that once filled her heart with light. The simple pleasures of walking alone in the park, losing herself in the pages of her favorite books, or relishing the freedom to decide how to spend her day had all but faded from her existence. The role she had taken on in Carlos's household was not just a change in responsibility. It was a growing chasm that pulled her further away from her true self. With each passing day, it became increasingly clear that remaining in this role did not benefit anyone, not her nor her loved ones. She felt a profound sense of loss, as if she were living someone else's life, a life devoid of the vibrant colors that once painted her world. The thought of leaving and transforming her life again loomed large in her mind, but the choice was fraught with difficulty. She understood that by opting for independence, she would have to relinquish the closeness she cherished with her grandchildren, the very connection that had once brought her immense joy. Yet, amidst the turmoil of conflicting emotions, Leah also grasped a crucial truth. To be the mother and grandmother her family needed, she first had to be at peace with herself. She recognized that true well-being hinged upon reclaiming her independence and the freedom to live life on her terms. It was not merely about physical proximity to her family. It was about nurturing her spirit, rediscovering her identity, and allowing herself to thrive. The path ahead was uncertain, but the yearning for a more authentic life began to ignite a flicker of hope within her. A hope that perhaps, by stepping into her light, she could inspire her family to embrace their journeys as well. Memories of her life before moving in with Carlos began to flood her mind with vivid intensity, each recollection a bittersweet reminder of who she once was. She could see herself, even after the profound loss of her husband, navigating her modest routine with a quiet resilience. Surrounded by friends who enriched her life and engaged in activities that truly satisfied her soul, she managed to find pockets of joy amidst the heartache. The thought of returning to her hometown, where her roots ran deep and where she knew she could be fully herself, began to crystallize with clarity in her heart. In those cherished memories, Leah discovered a vital truth. Her happiness did not hinge on being physically close to her family as a whole. Instead, it depended on striking a delicate balance between loving her children deeply and prioritizing her well-being. This realization ignited a flicker of determination within her. Thus, Leah arrived at a profound resolution to maintain her dignity, emotional equilibrium, and overall well-being. She needed to make a courageous decision. She understood that it wouldn't be easy to share her thoughts with Carlos and the rest of her family, knowing they might struggle to comprehend her desire for independence. But deep down, she recognized that this was the only way to reclaim control over her life, a life that had become a shadow of what it once was. Leah no longer wanted to be merely an absent figure drifting through her son's home. She yearned to take charge of her future, even if it meant confronting the uncertainties that lay ahead. With each heartbeat, her resolve grew stronger. She envisioned a life where she could reconnect with her essence, where she could cultivate her happiness and flourish once more. This decision would not just be a step toward her liberation. It could also pave the way for deeper connections with her family, built on mutual respect and understanding. In that moment, she embraced the notion that true love includes the courage to pursue one's path, and she felt ready to embark on her journey of transformation. With this empowering realization at the forefront of her mind, Leah began to meticulously organize the next steps of her journey, understanding that true happiness could only be realized if she dared to choose what was genuinely best for herself. She felt a surge of determination coursing through her veins, igniting a fire that had long been dormant. It was time to reclaim her life and identity, to rediscover the vibrant woman she once was. One day, fueled by this newfound resolve, she gathered all the courage she could muster to share her decision with her family. That morning, as the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, she called Carlos and Marina to the table for an important conversation. Her heart raced, pounding intensely in her chest as a whirlwind of emotions swirled within her. Fear, hope, and anticipation all coalescing into a singular moment of truth. As they settled into their seats, Leah took a deep breath and began, looking directly into Carlos's eyes, seeking connection and understanding. "I have been reflecting a lot lately," she started, her voice steady despite the tremor of vulnerability beneath. "I think it's time to take my path. I feel that I need to return to my home, to my life, where I can regain the peace and autonomy I have left behind." Her words hung in the air, laden with the weight of her emotions and the significance of her declaration. Leah felt a mix of relief and apprehension, aware that this choice could reshape the very fabric of their family dynamic. Yet, she was resolute in her belief that this step was essential not only for her well-being, but for fostering a healthier relationship with her loved ones. As she spoke, she could feel a sense of liberation beginning to blossom within her, signaling the dawn of a new chapter filled with hope and possibility. The silence that followed her declaration felt like an eternity, stretching out as Carlos and Marina exchanged bewildered glances filled with astonishment and concern. The weight of her words hung heavily in the air, palpable and charged with emotion. "But Mom, are you sure?" Carlos finally broke the stillness, his voice tinged with disbelief. "The children will miss you so much," he added, as he struggled to process the gravity of what he had just heard. Leah took a deep breath, feeling the complexity of the moment settle in her chest. This conversation was no small matter. It was a turning point in her life. Yet, amid the swirling emotions, she was acutely aware that she was taking the necessary steps toward her peace of mind, a peace she had longed for and desperately needed. "I love my grandchildren very much, Carlos," she began, her voice steady but infused with warmth. "And I will always be here when you need me. But I also have my own needs. I need to reconnect with myself and do what truly makes me happy. If I don't do it now, I fear I could lose myself forever." As she spoke, Leah felt a profound mixture of vulnerability and strength. Her heart ached at the thought of leaving, Yet she knew that reclaiming her sense of self was essential not just for her, but for her family as well. This was not just a departure. It was an act of love, an invitation for them all to understand that her happiness would ultimately benefit their relationships. She hoped that in prioritizing her well-being, she could inspire them to embrace their paths as well, forging deeper connections rooted in mutual respect and understanding. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment too below to let me know that you are still here with me. Marina, who had remained silent until that pivotal moment, nodded slowly, her expression softening as she absorbed the weight of Lee's words. "We are going to miss you a lot," she said, her voice steady yet tinged with emotion. "But we want you to find your happiness. And if that means returning to your home, then that's what you need to do." In that instant, a wave of relief washed over Leah, washing away the anxiety that had built up within her. Finally, she felt seen and understood, as if a veil of isolation had lifted. The support from her family ignited a spark of hope in her heart, reassuring her that her decision was valid and necessary. The day she returned to her hometown was a whirlwind of mixed emotions, a complex tapestry woven with threads of joy, sadness, and anticipation. As she carefully packed her belongings, each item seemed to hold a memory, echoes of laughter, moments of love, and the weight of her journey. A bittersweet combination of sadness and excitement enveloped her, tugging at her heartstrings as she contemplated leaving the familiar comforts of Carlos's house. The thought of departing was undeniably painful. The bonds she had formed with her grandchildren were precious, and the idea of stepping away from them filled her with sorrow. Yet, the prospect of returning to her own home, where she could reclaim her independence and live life on her terms, was equally exhilarating. It promised a fresh start, a chance to rediscover herself and embrace the life she had longed for. With each box she filled, Leah felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was stepping into a future where she could prioritize her happiness, nurture her passions, and rediscover the vibrant woman she once was. The journey ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, she felt a sense of clarity and determination. This was not just a move. It was a reclamation of her identity and the beginning of a new chapter filled with possibility. Upon arriving at her destination, an incredible lightness swept over Leah, as if the burdens that had weighed her down for so long had finally vanished. As she opened the door to her old house, she was enveloped by a warm silence that felt so profoundly different from the bustling atmosphere of her son's home. This was her sanctuary, her refuge, and the overwhelming sense of freedom that washed over her was almost indescribable. A sweet release from the constraints that had stifled her spirit. In the days that followed, Leah embarked on a beautiful journey of rediscovery, immersing herself in the life she had left behind. She eagerly resumed her morning walks, feeling the sun's gentle rays warm her skin as she strolled through familiar paths, each step a testament to her newfound independence. She reconnected with old friends, their laughter echoing through the air as they shared stories and rekindled bonds that had dulled over time. It was as if she were awakening from a long slumber, each interaction invigorating her soul and reigniting her passion for life. Leah also ventured into exploring new hobbies, activities she had always dreamed of trying, but had set aside in the name of duty and obligation. With a renewed sense of courage, she picked up the painting, allowing her emotions to flow onto the canvas in vibrant colors. She tried her hand at gardening, finding joy in nurturing the earth and watching life blossom around her. Every small step toward reclaiming her independence fortified her conviction that she had made the right decision. With each passing day, she felt more alive, more in tune with herself than she had in a long time. The shadows of doubt and melancholy that had once clouded her heart began to dissipate, replaced by a radiant sense of purpose and self-acceptance. Leah was not just existing. She was thriving, embracing each moment with gratitude and a profound appreciation for the life she was now free to shape on her terms. Leah understood that this new phase of her life would not be devoid of challenges, But for the first time in years, she felt equipped to face them with the unwavering confidence of someone who has reclaimed their own decisions. The freedom that had once felt like a distant dream was now a vibrant reality woven into the fabric of her daily life. With each new day, she was determined to seize every moment of this personal renewal, embracing the joys and opportunities that lay ahead. Navigating the intricate balance of family relationships is a delicate art, particularly in the coexistence of older parents and their adult children. Leah's journey vividly illustrated how excessive proximity, though often well-intentioned, can lead to emotional distances and tensions that were previously absent. Her decision to return to her own home was not merely a quest for autonomy. It was a profound recognition of the importance of maintaining a healthy, balanced environment for both herself and her loved ones. In this newfound space, she could nurture her independence while still cherishing her connections with Carlos, Marina, and her grandchildren. By establishing this boundary, Leah understood that she could foster a deeper appreciation for those relationships. The time spent apart would transform visits into cherished moments filled with genuine connection, free from the daily strains that had once clouded their interactions. Lee's experience served as a poignant reminder that love does not require constant physical proximity. Instead, it flourishes in the balance between togetherness and independence, allowing each person to grow and thrive in their own right. With her heart set on this new path, Leah looked forward to creating a life rich with meaning, love, and mutual respect, both for herself and for those she held dear. Physical separation, rather than being a sign of disconnection, can play a crucial role in maintaining and even strengthening family bonds. When family members live in individual spaces, visits transform into cherished occasions for genuine connection, free from the daily tensions that often arise from continuous coexistence. Finding the right balance between proximity and distance enables each family member to lead a fuller, more authentic life. While adult children deeply value their parents and the wisdom they bring, they also require the space to establish their routines, nurture their children, and cultivate their relationships. In parallel, older parents benefit from environments that allow them to maintain their independence, engage in their activities, and pursue personal interests. This equilibrium fosters a dynamic where love can thrive without the suffocation of constant togetherness. Achieving this balance introduces a new dimension to family relationships. Separation generates a natural longing, and when this longing is paired with thoughtfully organized visits and gatherings, it enhances affection and respect among family members. Each individual's autonomy becomes a vital component, allowing interactions to be based on voluntary choices rather than obligatory impositions. Now, when Leah visits Carlos and his family, those moments are infused with genuine joy and mutual respect. She approaches each visit with a sense of choice and purpose, aware that she is there by her own decision. Her family receives her with open arms, recognizing that her presence is a precious gift, not an obligation. This new dynamic, where balance is not only acknowledged but celebrated, transforms each encounter into something valuable and special, fortifying family ties in a healthy, nurturing way. In this harmonious environment, love flourishes, allowing all members to thrive both individually and collectively. A balance in family relationships creates a foundation for harmonious coexistence, where each member is allowed to grow and evolve individually. This equilibrium allows parents to preserve their self-respect and independence as they age, while children gain a deeper appreciation for the time and space they share with their loved ones from a refreshing new perspective. Leah came to understand that by prioritizing her well-being, she was not only safeguarding her mental and emotional health, but also rejuvenating the precious bond she shared with her son and grandchildren. Although achieving this delicate balance can often feel complicated, it is essential for fostering overall well-being and nurturing healthy, happy family relationships. When individuals neglect their own needs in favor of continuous sacrifice, particularly older parents, they risk falling into a harmful trap. In their fervent desire to protect and support their children, they may inadvertently ignore their dreams and desires, leading to a gradual erosion of their sense of self. In her unwavering effort to support Carlos and his family, Leah eventually reached a critical juncture where she had set aside everything that once brought her joy and fulfillment. She convinced herself that by renouncing her desires, she was adequately fulfilling her role as a devoted mother and grandmother. However, as time passed, she came to a painful realization. This self-sacrificial path led only to profound dissatisfaction and a loss of her identity. The vibrant woman she once was felt like a distant memory, overshadowed by the weight of expectations and the responsibilities that had consumed her life. Through this awakening, Leah recognized that true fulfillment comes from embracing one's own needs and passions. It is in reclaiming her identity that she would not only find happiness for herself, but also enrich her relationships with those she loved. By striking a balance between caring for others and nurturing her spirit, she could foster a family dynamic grounded in mutual respect, understanding, and genuine love. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. What began as an act of profound love gradually morphed into a festering resentment within Leah, not because she lacked affection for her children, but because she felt she was sacrificing her very identity. When parents dedicate themselves entirely to fulfilling their children's needs while neglecting their dreams and desires, they risk drifting away from the essence of what makes them unique and genuinely happy. This constant act of self-renunciation can, over time, lead to a debilitating sense of emptiness, as if life itself has lost a vital piece of its meaning. Leah keenly observed this transformation within her own existence. Gradually, she found herself drifting away from the activities that once brought her joy. She stopped reading the books that had transported her to other worlds, ceased participating in social groups that had ignited her passions, and even let her self-care slip away. Each small sacrifice, though made with good intentions, began to drain her energy and extinguish the joy that had once illuminated her life. As a result, a bitter undercurrent started to emerge within her, not stemming from a lack of recognition or appreciation, but from the haunting realization that she had lost something invaluable, her true self. The vibrant spirit that once embraced life with enthusiasm felt muted, overshadowed by the weight of obligations and expectations. It is crucial to recognize that self-care is not an act of selfishness. Rather, it is a necessity for maintaining health and well-being. As the popular proverb wisely states, you cannot offer what you do not have. For parents to remain strong pillars of support for their children, they must ensure that their own emotional, physical, and mental needs are met. Only by nurturing themselves can they truly foster an environment of love and stability, allowing their family bonds to flourish without sacrificing their own identities in the process. By finally choosing to prioritize her well-being, Leah not only reclaimed her enthusiasm for life, but also blossomed into a more attentive and fulfilled mother and grandmother. She discovered that by nurturing herself, she could give her best without feeling the weight of overwhelming obligations dragging her down. Leah's journey serves as a powerful reminder that finding a balance between caring for others and practicing self-care is essential for achieving optimal emotional health and maintaining healthy family relationships. Sacrifice is undeniably a part of the parenting journey, woven into the fabric of love and commitment. However, it should never come at the cost of personal happiness. When parents allow themselves the opportunity to live fully, embracing their passions and desires, they not only enrich their own lives, but also set a profound example for their children. They teach the importance of living authentically, encouraging future generations to cultivate their happiness and harmony. Leah's transformation illustrates that by prioritizing her own needs, she was not only nurturing her spirit, but also enhancing her capacity to love and support her family. She learned that true fulfillment comes from the ability to be both a devoted parent and an individual with her dreams and aspirations. This newfound balance not only rejuvenated her relationships, but also fostered a family dynamic where everyone could thrive, together and individually, reminding us all of the beauty that arises when self-care and familial love coexist in harmony. Ultimately, Achieving happiness and feeling fulfilled is not merely a right, but also the cornerstone for cultivating a loving and harmonious family environment. Leah's experience underscores the critical importance of maintaining independence in old age. As we grow older, societal expectations often pressure us to relinquish our personal needs and desires for the sake of the family, particularly in favor of our children. Yet, Leah's journey vividly illustrates that preserving independence and maintaining one's identity are essential components for leading a full and rewarding life. Her decision to leave her son's house and return to her own home was not just a change of residence. It was a powerful affirmation of her dignity and a deliberate choice to prioritize her own satisfaction and quality of life. Autonomy in old age does not signify distancing oneself or severing family ties. Rather, it is about finding a proper balance where both parents and children can fully enjoy their lives without unnecessary tensions or burdens weighing them down. Leah discovered that by prioritizing her care and happiness, she transformed into a more attentive and contented mother and grandmother. She found that she could truly relish her time with her family without the emotional pressure of self-renunciation. Each visit, each shared moment became enriched by her newfound sense of self, allowing her to engage with her loved ones from a place of strength and fulfillment. In reclaiming her independence, Leah not only enriched her own life, but also set a powerful example for her family, demonstrating that true love thrives when each individual is empowered to nurture their own identity and happiness. This delicate balance fosters the strengthening of family relationships grounded in mutual respect and genuine appreciation for each member's individuality. For those facing similar circumstances, it's vital to remember that the pursuit of autonomy is not an act of egocentrism. Rather, it is a profound expression of self-love and respect for one's life journey. Embracing this truth can be transformative. Staying active, cultivating personal interests, and ensuring adequate personal space are essential elements for achieving a balanced and fulfilling life in old age. These practices not only nurture individual well-being, but also enrich family dynamics, allowing for healthier interactions and deeper connections. I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on your own needs and to take charge of your life. Choose actions that prioritize your satisfaction and enhance your quality of life. If you feel comfortable, share your feelings and aspirations with your family. Open communication can bridge gaps and foster understanding. True happiness, as Leah ultimately learned, arises from living authentically according to your own needs while skillfully balancing family obligations with personal care. This harmonious approach allows individuals to thrive, creating a nurturing environment where love and respect flourish. By prioritizing your well-being, you not only enrich your own life, but also set a powerful example for those around you, illustrating the importance of self-fulfillment in building a loving family. The value of autonomy in old age is a profound gift we grant ourselves, enabling us to age with dignity while preserving the unique qualities that satisfy us. By embracing independence, we choose to live fully, embracing the freedom to continue growing, learning, and above all, being authentically who we are. This commitment to selfhood is perhaps the most precious legacy we can offer our children, a living model of a life lived with fullness, purpose, and self-love. Now that you have journeyed through Leah's story and reflected on the myriad challenges and benefits of seeking autonomy in later years, it's time to turn your gaze inward. Ask yourself, how have you tended to your own needs while juggling the responsibilities of family life? Have you allowed yourself to live in alignment with your desires and aspirations? Leah's decision to reclaim her happiness and well-being was a courageous step toward a more fulfilling life. What changes could you implement in your own life to ensure that your journey is equally rich and rewarding? I encourage you to ponder your own experiences and evaluate the choices you've made thus far. Perhaps it's time to initiate an open dialogue with your children, sharing your emotions and setting boundaries that foster a healthier and more harmonious relationship. Remember, your well-being is essential not just for your happiness, but for nurturing the bonds that connect you with your loved ones. Embrace this opportunity to create a life that reflects your true self and inspire those around you to do the same. As we conclude this journey through Lee's inspiring story, we invite you to reflect on what you've learned today. Consider how the balance of autonomy and familial love can transform not just your life, but the lives of those around you. What insights have resonated with you? We'd love to hear from you. Please share in the comments below one key takeaway you've gained from this discussion and how you plan to incorporate it into your life moving forward. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave your comment and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring content. Thank you for joining us. And remember, prioritizing your happiness is the first step toward nurturing healthy relationships.